Hey, what's going on, guys? Gonna do a Zippo related video. Something pretty interesting. This is a vintage Zippo. It's basically new old stock. You know, collectors love stuff like this because it's brand new, in the box, never used, all original, just happens to be old, you know? So it's pretty cool Zippo. This is a Slim that was sent to me by one of my great online friends. We go way back to, I want to say, pre-YouTube even. I think I know him from, I think maybe Knife Forums or something like that, but he sent me the Zippo a couple months ago, and I want to take the time to do a video on it today. What's really cool about finding old Zippos, and for the most part, older Zippos were used for advertisement, okay? And there's a lot of people who collect Zippos. I mean, there's thousands of them out there. I read a statistic that 1 in every 4 people who own a Zippo collects them. So what's really cool is that there's so many different ways you can go about collecting Zippos. You could collect Zippos that just have alcohol-related stuff on them. I know people who just collect, you know, Jack Daniel's Zippos. That's it. They try to get every single one they've ever made. You know, other people just go for different beer-related Zippos. You know, Budweiser and Coors and that kind of stuff. Some people just get brass Zippos. You know, some people try to just collect 1 year. Maybe their birth year is 1979 or something, so that they collect as many Zippos from that year as they can. So there's really, you know, unlimited ways you can go about collecting Zippos, which is pretty cool. But one of them is to get old advertisement Zippos. Okay, some people specifically look for one type of advertisement. Some people just like a good variety of them. But anyway, this is the Zippo that was sent to me. You can see that really high polish. I mean, there's the camera. You can even make out the HD. And my ceiling fan. But anyway, let me come in close so you can. There we go. That's a good way to show it. This has a thing on the front here. It says Christ Child Society. Okay, and then a little slogan under there. It says Laborare est orare. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's basically what it says. You guys can read it. And it's a pretty cool little Zippo. But what's so fascinating about it is, obviously, I have no idea what this whole thing means, so I had to look into it. Now, what I really like about these old Zippos is that the advertisement, not all of them, but most of them, the advertisements were engraved into the Zippo itself, and then it was filled in with paint, you know, whatever color. And they were all hand painted back in the day, okay, hand done. This obviously only has one color on it, it's just blue, but it's still pretty cool. And to be hand painted, and you know, this one's never been used, it's in mint condition. You can see no fluid in or anything. Here's the insert. Now the Zippo Slims, pretty stiff in there. Zippo Slims, not as popular as the full-size Zippos, but I certainly like them because they're different. And I'm gonna have a completely separate video. I hate getting fingerprints all over this. I have a completely separate video in the future focusing on dating Zippos, because there's still a lot of people out there who don't know everything you need to know about dating Zippos as far as collectability is concerned. Zippos being marked and dated really was just for quality control. It had nothing to do with collectability or anything like that. It was just basically, if you know, they got a Zippo back that doesn't work and all of a sudden there's a couple of them that don't work, they can look at the bottoms or look at part of the Zippo and they can get an idea of when it was made, so they can, you know, pinpoint what the problem was. But anyway, let's take a look at the bottom stamp here. Now, anyone know what year this Zippo was made? Well, right off the bat, here's what I noticed, and as a Zippo collector, here's the first thing to look at, is the actual Zippo logo. Okay, what kind of logo is it? Is it the block letters? Is it the newer logo with the flame on the eye? Or is it this one, the script logo? The script logo was used, you know, middle era for Zippo. It was used from anywhere from 1955 to 1979. It was actually established in the late 40s, but it wasn't, you know, in full production on Zippo lighters until 55. So if you get that script logo, you know your lighter's either from 1955, all the years, you know, after that, up until 1979. So it gives you an idea of about when it was made. And then, of course, we look at the markings. To the left of the Zippo logo, we have 2 straight up and down slash marks. Okay, they're not angled, they're just straight up and down. To the right of the logo, we have 1. So 2 up and down to the left and 1 up and down to the right, which I just happen to know offhand that is 1971. Okay, the date chart is really simple to remember if you care about this stuff, and it's you know, you're interested in the hobby enough, you will remember what it is. First it was a dot system, you know, but even before dots it was patent numbers, but after the patent numbers you have the dots, then you have the slashes, and so forth, and then newer Zippos are a lot easier to figure out. But yeah, 2 to the left and 1 to the right that are straight up and down is 1971. So the Zippo was made in 1971, the Zippo Slim. So what I wanted to know, because I know it's a cool old Zippo and stuff, but I want to know more about what this symbol was for. Why was this made? Obviously this was made for organization, but I knew nothing about it. So I did some research. And I looked up what the Christ Child Society is. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. By the way, here's the original box. You could find just these old boxes on eBay. If you happen to have an old Zippo lighter and you want the original box, you can get just the boxes, but it's kind of expensive. And to find an older Zippo, you know, some vintage Zippos, or I guess you can classify as antique in some cases, you know, original, brand new condition in the box. I mean, they get premium dollars for the collectors. Actually, I'm going to leave this off like this so you can have something to look at while I'm spewing some information. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Let me back up a little bit. That was just way too close. All right, that's a little better. All right, I'm going to read you this paragraph here, direct from the website for Christ Child Society, because I went to the website to see if I can find out what these people actually do to help kids. And it turns out they have events to raise money, and they donate their time and volunteer at different places with feeding kids and helping families who don't have any money and all kinds of stuff like that. But their About Us page, which I'm about to read to you, didn't explain at all what they really do. It just explained how they get together, which I thought was kind of strange. They kind of avoided, I mean, they say that they help kids and families, but they didn't say how, which I thought was weird. But anyway, I'm going to read to you anyway. Here's the paragraph, word for word. It says, our organization. Christ Child Society members, united by a common cause, have been serving children and families since our foundation in 1887. Inspired by Mary Virginia Merrick's motto, find a need and fill it, members serve as volunteers in their communities by organizing themselves into a chapter under a national board of directors. The national board of executive director through the national office advise and inspire individual chapters by offering annual conventions, speakers, workshops, and leadership training, as well as newsletters and operating guidelines to help chapters build their membership and best meet the needs of their community. The national board members are elected from within the membership and make a 2-year commitment to represent the Christ Child Society. Local Christ Child chapters are chartered in collaboration with the National Christ Child Society and conform to the mission, spirit, and purpose of the National Christ Child Society and its bylaws. All National Christ Child chapters operate with the approval of the bishop of the diocese in which they are located or chartered. So anyway, it basically just says how they run. They don't go into detail as to how they actually help, but anyway, that's what they're all about. They're helping families and kids in need, okay? Now, the way they kind of worded this and reading more into it, it really honestly seemed very Freemason-like to me, okay? Now, my grandfather was a Freemason. He was really, really high up there. I don't know a lot of details about the Freemasonry or anything like that, but I knew he was heavily involved, and he had 50 plus years as a Freemason, and he was just, I don't know the exact like terminology for any of this, but he was high ranking, okay, and he never really divulged a lot of information to me about the organization or anything like that, but he did mention a couple times that it's like a community within the community, and they have a variety of different organizations out there that help and give back to the community. Now, I had just an assumption that this was somewhat related to them, and then I looked into the slogan, I guess you can call it, on the bottom. Again, let's take a look at that real quick, and it says, if I can get the focus a little bit better, you see those fingerprints pretty good. Laborare est orare, underneath, right there. So I looked into that. I gotta get rid of these fingerprints, it's bugging me. So I looked into that. Turns out it was a slogan later used by Freemasons. But I'm gonna read a little bit about that real quick for you, and then we're done with the history lesson here. It says, laborare est aurere is a motto that derives from the rule of Benedict, and which was later adopted by Freemasons. By adopting this ethos, the Benedictine order attained a high degree of self-sufficiency, which arguably helped them to survive the fall of Rome. Now, Benedict formulated a rule by which the monks of his monastery would live. It laid stress on the equal value of prayer, study, and work. And in this way, Benedict laid the foundations for self-sufficiency in a period when a community would either survive on its own or not survive at all. At the core of the rule was the edict, laborare est aurere, which translates directly to work is to pray. Benedict's monks were to be no mere ritualistic bookworms. He wanted them to get dirt under their nails. As the movement spread across Europe and Benedictines set up abbeys that prospered, safe behind their massive walls, even when the depredations of the barbarian invaders were taking their greatest toll taking their greatest toll of the country around. I feel like I'm reading in the middle class, you know, like in school when they pick you and you're like, oh God, I don't want to read in front of everyone. That's how I feel right now. Like, I can read fine to myself. When I have to read out loud, I stumble, and it makes me feel stupid. But that's, I guess, human. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, the slogan obviously has religious roots, but it was adopted by the Freemasons later. So this is just a Christian type slogan that they just put on their organization here. All right, so I thought it was fascinating. Be interesting to find someone who actually is a part of the Christ Child Society who happens to smoke. If I ever run into those people in real life, I will give them this lighter for free. just because. And they'll be like, whoa, where'd you get this thing? And I'll say, you know, tell them the story. So, pretty cool. An old Zippo Slim from 1971 with some history that most people watching the video just don't care about. But it's just what's really cool about getting old Zippos like this, particularly advertisement Zippos, and I've gone through probably 2 or 3 dozen in my lifetime, is you end up researching the company that it was made for, or in this case, the organization, and you learn something. I had no idea that this organization existed at all. Does this information help me in any way in life? Not really. It's just good to learn things, right? We all have, maybe suppressed, but we all have an urge for knowledge, and we all have a need to learn things and figure out more about life and what's going on around us. So I just thought it was fascinating. Thought I'd share it with you. So anyway, one of the newer Zippos in my collection. I will do a Zippo collection update in the future. My collection is growing again, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. And I have no plans on having a massive collection either. I just don't have the money to put into it. The cool thing about Zippos is it is a cheaper hobby, to be honest. I mean, some of the biggest sought-after Zippos, I mean, in my opinion, some of the ones that I want are still relatively cheap compared to knives. And then, you know, when you compare knives to guns, they're even cheaper. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want a new gun, okay, a new pistol. You're looking at anywhere from like $400 to $1,000, depending on what you're looking for, right? You know, rough estimate, $400 to $1,000 for one gun. That's cool. That's just what it is. If you want new knives, for the most part, you're looking anywhere from $50 to maybe $200 or $300, depending on what kind of knife you're looking for. So already we're talking about a lot cheaper of a hobby, right? With Zippos, most Zippos brand new are anywhere from $15 to $30. So you can't beat that. Now, someone like me who knows a lot about the Zippo stuff and collecting, I happen to prefer some of the more rare, harder to find Zippos. And so like, even though I can get a brand new $20 Zippo and love it, what I really want, like my sacred Zippos, would be some of the harder things to find. I personally would love a steel Zippo from wartime, you know, World War II, Black Crackle, a Japanese Zippo. That kind of stuff really floats my boat. And you're looking at anywhere from like $100 to $300 for most of what I want for each Zippo. So even though it's a couple $100, it's not as bad as, you know, having a gun addiction. You know, a lot of people, they need that brand new rifle that's $2,000 or, you know, $3,000, whatever it is. It could be a lot worse, right? But even so, even though it is cheap, I'm just focusing on important stuff, and the hobbies have to come second to being mature and paying bills and stuff, unfortunately. But, you know, still growing slowly but steadily. And anyway, just wanted to show you one of the newer ones to the collection. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.